finally everything had left, meaning I could not hear, smell, touch, feel or see, but I was still there. Another very revealing experience, and especially for those who feel that they don't need God, or that God knows whether He exists, or what is the use of God in our life. There is the experience, it's a kind of a personal experience. My brother, who did not join the Sathya Sai college here, and I came from a background where I would say we were very worldly and very materialistic, almost non-believers, and then somehow my parents turned towards Swami, and then I have written and talked about the fact that I also was kind of forced to join Puttaparthi. Of course, I didn't know that time that I'll be here for the next 34 years, still talking about Swami. But my brother did not join here, and then he continued in the same lifestyle and got married, and then he was doing the family business, and he would not have really felt the need for God, and there were enough worldly attractions available to say that we don't need it. It appears that when man has all kinds of things available, all comforts and luxuries, you may really wonder why we need God. So this was one of the turning points in his life, and he was going in the Himalayas where we had some kind of a business. He was going in a car, and on the other side of the road, it's around 1,000 feet deep ravine, and he and two other people were going in the car. Somebody else was driving, and this was a turn as the winding roads go, in the Himalayas, and as the car takes a turn, the driver turns 90 degrees as the usual turn, but this happened to be a U-turn, and he doesn't notice. He's going quite fast, and instead of turning 180 U-turn, he just turns halfway. And my brother later narrated to me this. He said, "Bhaiya, for the first time, I suddenly saw that it's all over. We were going." He says, "I could see that the car is going into the ravine. So it's all over." So he says he shouted, and he took the steering wheel and turned it, and in the process, there was a huge tree there, and the car jammed into the tree, and he got hit badly, and face was absolutely, ridden with glass pieces, and everybody was unconscious. He comes back to consciousness after some time and realizes that he's dying. All his blood is coming out, and he could hardly see through the blood, but he had that much of sense to know that I must be dying now. And he in fact described to me some interesting things which happen to people when they are dying, those who have never cared for anything else in life. And then he said, "I've started reliving my all my childhood days, from early childhood till that day. I started thinking, because I was knowing that it's all over." And as he thought of his mother, his father, his brother, etc., he felt that no problem, they will all be able to take this shock because they are in a different kind of life, so nobody will really miss him. And this is what happens to many people. Man's adversities becomes opportunities for God only to uplift the same man who doesn't care for him. And so at some point he suddenly realized that he had just got married 6 months back, 1.5 years back, and 6 months back he had a baby girl. And the moment he thought of his wife and daughter, he says, next moment I was thinking, I don't want to die. Please, I should live, because what's going to happen to them? And then as he was lying there, he says around 1.5 hours from the nearest town. So he should have just collapsed like that. Then a Maruti van comes there with some Sardarji's family, and they are so good that they come down, and then of course the ladies there started shouting that this man is going to die, and that made him even more nervous that okay, it's all over. Then the Sardarji takes out his turban and finally puts it all around his face, because they were not able to stop the bleeding with anything else. Then they put him into the Maruti van, back of the Maruti van, and as they do that, he's there and he says that I could feel the journey, and I was knowing that it's 1.5 hours from the nearest hospital, so I will die here. And then he described to me the sequence in which his senses were leaving. He was a very worldly person, but I was thinking that, oh, he's giving me a lot of interesting input. So he said, first my vision went as I was lying. After some time I could see no longer. Then my hearing went off. I could not hear any longer, but I could still feel the touch. Before that, all this noise he was hearing. Then he says, finally, this is how he described. He was a very simple person in that sense. He says that finally everything had left, meaning I could not hear, smell, touch, feel or see, but I was still there, he said. He said, I don't know how to describe what was there. I was there. I was still there. And then he says that I realized that I am coming out of my body. So I was coming out of the body. And as I was coming out of the body, he says, suddenly he hears a voice which says, chant Gayatri Mantram. By force, me and my brother had attended Bal Vikas in our childhood. You don't know when these things come to our aid, when these things come to our rescue. We were not really interested, but my mother she used to teach herself, and then we used to go there forcefully, and we had been taught Gayatri Mantram. When all these things will come to our rescue. So he says that the next moment all he knew was mentally, in whatever state he was, that Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. As he starts Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, he says the back of the Maruti van, till now he was not able to, before that there was a lot of pain also, but with all the senses going, he was only existing, then he was going out of the body. And when the Gayatri chanting begins, he says within the 2 sentences of Gayatri chanting, the back of the Maruti van became Prashanti Nilayam. He saw Prashanti Nilayam there. So he was shocked. And then Swami was standing there with Abhayasta and smiling. God is very kind, you see. And then he says, with that vision, he became very peaceful, no other thought. And he chanted in his imagination, he chanted the Gayatri Mantram only 3 times. And the 3rd time when he chanted, the vision was gone and his senses came back, and they had reached the hospital. The 1.5 hour journey had become 3 Gayatri Mantrams, and he was in the hospital. Then he underwent plastic surgery and so many things to save him. They put so many stitches. Now, the other side of the story. This was during the month of November, and Swami used to give me that opportunity for many years during November, calling us for interviews for the convocation drama. And every interview would be only in the evenings. And the previous evening I had got off the message from my mother. She was here only, and she said that this is what has happened and he's absolutely critical, that news had reached. So please inform Swami. And it was night time, so I could not do anything. So I said, morning is the earliest that I can do anything. So, and then I was thinking, okay, maybe Swami, I don't know what is God's will. And I was just wondering. Morning I go for darshan. It happened to be a Sunday, I think, because all of us had gone for morning darshan. Mind you, this was the only 2 times Swami has called me in the morning. And that day, Swami picks up the drama boys, 5 of us, 2, 3, 4 singers and myself, come for interview. So I go and I have written a letter there, and I have written, Swami, brother is critical and he has had 180 stitches on his face. And doctors, he may not survive, this is the condition. Swami calls us inside and then he tests me because the interview is for the drama. So he looks at me, kya kiya? So then I start talking about the songs. So I also know that, Swami is testing me, so I should do my duty. So I kept telling the Swami, show this song, show that song. So 10 or 15 minutes it went on like that. And as if he was pleased, or that was also his drama, suddenly he looks at me, becomes serious, looks at my face and says, brother ka accident hua. And I'm shocked. But our monkey minds, they think, okay, my mother's letter would have reached. Okay, so many things could have happened. So Swami would have read a letter. I just said, yes, Swami. Papam, uska bad karma. Bad karma, past bad karma. Otherwise, I would have saved like this, Swami said. So I thought it's over with him. Because Swami is telling like that. So what to do? Mother ko worry hai na. Kya kare? Mother's worry will be there. Papam. So I all the more felt that everything is over. And I was not knowing how to react. And then Swami says, Tumko nahi pata raha kitna stitches laga usko. How many stitches? I was waiting to tell that to Swami. I had written there, my mother had told me 180 stitches. So I'm about to tell, I'm going to get, because other boys are sitting, and when Swami says like that, so I've got an opportunity to tell Swami. As I'm about to tell, Swami says, Tumko nahi pata raha, 102 stitches. I got deflated slightly because I am waiting to tell Swami 180 stitches and Swami makes it 102. But I cannot say, oh, only 102. So I told, oh my, as if I did not know. So I told 182 stitches. And Swami told, don't worry, something like that he told. Interview gets over, everything is over. After 1 month, my brother is fully fine. He comes to Parthi, and he has not told this experience to anybody till then of how Swami has saved him. He is waiting to talk to me and tell me this, and then he comes and tells this experience of how Swami saves him. And then he talked about the pain that he had to undergo, because of this stitching. He says the anesthesia was paining more than the stitching, and then they started doing it without anesthesia. So casually I asked him, I was not wanting to ask him that because, see, he has got this newly developed faith and he's so happy. And if I say Swami told this many stitches, again he'll get some doubt. So, but when he was talking about the stitching, I just casually asked, how many stitches? He told 102. And it was my time to get shocked. That's how God plays that beautiful role of, being ignorant as if he doesn't know anything, sitting here and masterminding the entire play of the cosmos, whether a believer, non-believer. He knows whose life to enter, when and how, and he does it in a most casual manner sometimes, and sometimes very casually reveals the greatest of truth. And of course after that Swami also gave an interview to my brother, and so many things changed after that.